Yes, yes, it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are live on Radio Row here in Phoenix, Arizona, side of Super Bowl 57. Darren Smith, of course, with you, and I have a couple of very special guests with us. I have the one, but got to do age for beauty now. We got
we got the old guy. I just said that we got the old guy, not the one and only, the old guy.
My guy, Mike Pereira, of course, a former NFL official, and now, of course, you hear him all the time on the main broadcast, along with Mr. Dean Blandino. So, gentlemen, first and foremost, what are you all doing on Radio Row? Of course, we know why you're here for the Super Bowl, but what brings you to Radio Row?
To me, I always like coming to Radio Row because it's a judge on how the officials are doing. If you come to Radio Row and you're not requested to do any interviews, then officiating is pretty good. But when everybody's following you down the hallways and doing interviews as you're walking from one, it's been a tough time for officiating with a lot of controversy, so to speak. So we're popular today.
That's right. Yeah, we've had a busy dance card.
Yeah,
we're definitely, and I think coming off the championship games, that was probably expected.
And look, I want to just dive right into it. This is no filter. If you got to drop an F-bomb, you got to drop an F-bomb. But
what is an F-bomb?
Well, I'm not going to say. My mom.
Well, I wanted you to say it. You said
no,
it was
my mama's
no filters
watching.
here. So.
My mama. Hello, mama.
Yeah,
I got to give her a shout out.
Mama,
Hello,
you got a fine son here, mama.
Seriously, so AFC Championship, obviously there were a couple of things, and now the commissioner in yesterday's presser said that he thought officiating has never been better. Now, I don't expect him to say anything different, but from you all's vantage points, were there some questionable calls in both championship games that, fans had a right to feel like something is not right?
No question. And look, and Roger, absolutely, he's going to say that. And I think he does believe that, and because again, he's responsible for the entire NFL, and he's put the officiating structure in place. But the thing is, when you look at the two games, especially the AFC Championship games, there were some plays, and especially that sequence in the fourth quarter where we end up with a do-over, and Cincinnati thinks they're getting off the field. They make a stop. Kansas City's going to punt. I mean, the punt team was out on the field. I mean, both teams were getting ready for a fourth down punt, and now, wait a minute, we stopped the play because we had to correct the clock, which was preceded by moving the ball a half yard. That to me, it was a messy, and Mike, said the game was kind of messy. That was a messy sequence. And I think fans, especially Bengals fans in that sequence, had a right to be upset.
I'm curious, when you all are, and I know most of you gentlemen are in the booth, but a lot of fans are wondering about that eye in the sky and what New York is watching and calling. Does the final decision come from New York? And if that's the case, why can't they get on it quicker? If they're seeing the same thing that the fans are seeing at home, why are they not able to overrule something, or not allowed to take so long?
Yeah, it just depends. I mean, all of that has come under discussion because of the Devonta Smith play in the Eagles game early on against the 49ers. And, why did not either get challenged or stopped for an expedited review by the league? The thing is, I mean, you can have all these cameras if you want, but you still have to identify the right shot to see if, in fact, the call is right or wrong. If it is a catch indeed, or if it's incomplete. And when the Eagles rush to the line of scrimmage, you have 8 seconds to look at 32 different cameras to try to find the one shot that sells the fact that the game needs to be stopped. So there's inherent problems.
And the home team is not going to help you with the replay either on the screen.
Well,
correct?
But it's not the home team, so it's the network. I mean, the home team, the coaches that are sitting in the coaches' booth that are seeing the replays that are being shown, they're actually seeing the network feed.
Okay,
now, the coach, on the other hand, he can see up on the big screen, and you're right. When they're the visitors, they're not going to see much.
Yeah, and that's my question. The screen that's that's saying where everybody sees. If you're the home team, if the first time you see him ask some questions, you're not going to replay that on the big screen. It's going to have to come from obviously the network and what they're seeing in the coach's box to where they hey throw the flag, because whoever's operating that is not going to replay it again.
Yeah, but there are, I think, 31 of the 32 teams, from what I've been told, have a replay, whether it's a coach or whatever, a replay expert in the booth watching the shots from TV. But it's just one of those things. Look, we just have to realize that we can't correct everything. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast is this game's so hard to officiate, so hard to cover that you're not going to be able to fix everything. And we've got to get beyond that. It's already gone. Think about this. 1999 replay came back in from its original form, 86 to 91, I believe it was. We said, clear and obvious, you only correct the obvious mistakes on big impact plays, on plays that really have a legitimate possible outcome of the game. And now we're moving the ball half a yard. We're doing some of these things that, that just create these issues. And I think that's part of the transition that we're going through. I'm in the mode of this. Do I think officiating's better, or do I think it's worse, or do I think it's the same? I think that the people that are officiating the game are better. I think the officiating is not as good. And I think that there's a reason for that. And I think that's because replay has gotten so involved that they've taken the officiating aspect off the field into the replay booth, onto New York. And they have so many people now involved in making the decisions that I think the officials on the field have become somewhat reliant on replay, and I think that's hurt officiating.
That and the fact that in the NFL don't have you all working full time, but that's just I'm just saying.
I don't agree with that either. By the way,
that's what I'm saying. See, we think alike. Dane, want to ask you when it comes to penalties, and a lot of people have asked this question: should they utilize the college rule when it comes to pass interference? If it's you're throwing a 60-yard bomb to the end zone. Should it be a spot foul versus, first down at the point of impact?
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I like the NFL rule. I think
Me
both
too.
rules work for their leagues, because the college cornerback, defensive back is different. The NFL cornerback, defensive back, if you say, hey, the max is going to be a 15-yard penalty, they're going to play more aggressive in the secondary, and that will hurt the deep passing game. And so that was always the concern and the pushback. Now, again, you can't have 30, 40-yard defensive pass interference calls that are technical or ticky-tack. You want to stay away from that. But I do worry that if we went to a college rule in the NFL, you'd get more aggressive play in the secondary, and that would hurt the passing game overall.
The big question, though, there's the situation with Patrick Mahomes with the high ankle sprain, the tackle. I guess there's talk in the offseason that they're going to be looking at that to try. I mean, when is it too much?
I mean, that's tough because you look at those and I hadn't heard the term, but it was this hip drop tackle. They said outlawing the hip drop tackle. And, the horse collar, that was because it has almost the same effect. But the horse collar, you could officiate because that was a grab. It was clear pulling. This, you could have a player that's moving at full speed, grab the quarterback or the running back, and just the momentum takes them into something that looks like that. To me, that's going to be a really hard type of play to officiate, and you always have to consider that. Player safety is number one when you look at rules changes, competitive equity, but then consistency in officiating. And I'm not sure that's something you could officiate consistently.
And I think the thing like with the horse collar, that was a technique. That was a Roy Williams technique where he saved himself punishment on his body. When he could have wrapped, he reached for the collar and pulled him down. I don't know with the Pollard injury and that type of this hip drop thing. I just don't know how you would change that. But on the other hand, players do adjust. And if they look at injury data and there's a bunch of Pollard type injuries and Mahomes type injuries, then, the committee will obviously take a strong look at it at least.
Sure. One of the things the league talked about a release this week and said that I think they had like 18% more concussions this year versus previous year. Do you feel like the officials need to do or someone needs to do a better job in spotting out, when certain players or when those hits are taking place that that you get the player out of there quickly?
Well, I think those numbers, you have to consider with those numbers, we can say 18% more concussions, but look at where we are today in terms of players self-reporting, officials identifying players that may be in distress, the ATC spotter. We're recognizing more concussions. I don't know if we have more in the game, but we definitely have more that are being reported than 10, 15 years ago. And I think the officials, their job is to recognize when a player is exhibiting signs of that type of injury, and to get them off the field. But there's a lot of layers to that: players, teammates, coaches, the people upstairs. And the league will look at all of the concussions from last year. The competition committee will look at the video, and like Mike said earlier, if there's a type of play, a technique that is leading to concussions, they'll consider a rule change to get that out.
And I think that may happen with punt plays, because that's where they're getting a lot of injuries now on the punt plays. And so I know that there's discussion about that, and I would foresee some changes in the punt return game coming as early as next year.
Big question I want to ask for you all. I know Chris Jones got a penalty was earlier this season, and not the one against Indianapolis. Of course, a lot of people wondering what he said that he got flagged for, but trying sacking the quarterback or tackling the quarterback, and they talking about putting his weight on. What does the defender draw the line? Because I guess a lot of times when they get flagged for the play, they're in midair, and they can't really control themselves, but they get a penalty for that.
I go back on this, and Mike knows this. I preferred how it was officiated maybe 10 or 15 years ago, where you actually had to do something extra. We would teach, it's a lift, a drive, stuffing the quarterback into the ground, doing something additional other than just trying to tackle. And you look at some of our quarterbacks today, these are big people, and you try to tackle Josh Allen, and there's going to be force involved. And to me, if it's just a conventional tackle and the defensive player who's moving at full speed just lands on the quarterback, that to me shouldn't be a foul versus doing something additional to ensure that I'm going to drive that quarterback into the ground. And that's where you do see those injuries like collarbones and shoulders and things like that.
But I think we should also talk about when it's roughing the passer. Everybody talks about the Chris Jones play, and it's just been so much controversy about roughing the passer itself. But a startling number to me is when you look at the number of roughing the passer calls in 2021, there were 153. What was the number in 2022? 93. 60 less penalties called for roughing the passer this year, which is an incredible drop. And I think that they've gotten to the point where, other than this landing on top of the quarterback with your body weight, because I agree 100% with Dean, they've gotten into more of not reacting to the hits that don't put the quarterbacks in a situation where they could get hurt. So I do think overall they're handling roughing the passer better.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I appreciate your time. I know you got more interviews to do. Dean Blandino, Mike Pereira, you all wanted questions. I got the answers. Well, we'll take a brief time out. Who knows who we'll have next? Later.
Are you hosting a Super Bowl party and want to elevate your guest experience? At KC Cocktail Company is doing a cocktail drop-off giveaway to one lucky individual. KC Cocktail Company specializes in creating beautiful, delicious craft cocktails, and Paige's promotion includes 75 servings valued at $300. You can choose from one or two different craft recipes. And also included in this package, Paige provides the cups, napkins, straws, cocktail setup with jugs for the cocktails, and garnishes to complement the craft cocktails. To enter to win, check out our website at www.kccocktailco.com and sign up for the promotion. You will be entered to win, and the winner will be announced on February 10th. Everyone who enters the contest will receive a 10% discount on a cocktail drop-off package of your choice. Contact Paige and KC Cocktail Company directly to learn more. Don't wait until the last minute. Reserve your cocktail drop-off today. Their phone number is 816-456-4388, and the email is hello@kccocktailco.com. Don't miss out on this chance to elevate your party to the next level. KC Cocktail Company is proud to announce their first annual nonprofit giveaway. Paige White and KC Cocktail Company believe in giving back to their community, and they are giving away a $500 bar credit to a deserving Kansas City not-for-profit organization. KC Cocktail Company knows that hosting a gala, fundraiser, donor dinner, or golf tournament can be expensive, so they are donating the bar credit to be used to help raise money toward any event that the nonprofit sees fit. What nonprofit do you love supporting? Here's your chance to help them out even more. Check out the nonprofit page on KC Cocktail's website at www.kccocktailco.com and enter in their info, and Paige will enter them into a drawing, as well as contact them on other ways that KC Cocktail can help support them. Feel free to call or email KC Cocktail Company directly for more information at 816-456-4388 or hello@kccocktailco.com.